Welcome, Bourbon Buddies. Today is going to be a fun day. So, we have every single Wild Turkey Master's Keep. So, if you don't know, Wild Turkey's Master's Keep is usually an annual release, obviously by Wild Turkey, the same people that make good old Russell's Reserve and Wild Turkey 101 and a million other things. Now, Wild Turkey Masters Keep is kind of their end of year super fancy thing that they do. The MSRP on it has been like $150 since its inception, and actually with Triumph, the most recent one, it's over $200, maybe even closer to $300. And today we're going to go back. We're going to try every single one. Now, I've been very lucky to get these. Most of these are from a good friend of mine named Fred, who sent me seven, actually, in these nice little jars here. And then I had the three that came from three different people, the Unforgotten, the Voyage, and the Triumph, the more recent ones. From this side to this side, we have 2015, 2016. Excuse me, there's actually no 2016s. We have actually 2015, 2017, 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So this is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to start with the leftmost one. We're actually going to start with the 2015 one. Now, Wild Turkey Masters Keep 17 is 86.8 proof. I actually have a little cheat sheet here just so I can remember all of the statistics. This one actually doesn't really have anything special to it, it seems. It's in a black case, and we're going to find out how good it is here. Um, Smells like some good Wild Turkey funk. A lot of caramel, like an aged oak, like an oak funk to it. And there's some cherry, a little bit of like blueberry in there, like definitely some fruitiness. Nothing super unique. Not getting a ton of spice on it. Really, really pungent nose though for 86.8 proof. I mean, this is smelling really good. Hmm. No, it's this really I'm impressed. But let's see how it tastes. And I have ample water. I have a glass of water. I have a bottle of water. We're gonna try to do all of these in one take. We're gonna see how it goes. But we gotta start off with glass number one here. Let's do it. Hmm. That's interesting. So definitely get the aged oak funk, some cherry, definitely a little bit of blueberry. Very viscous actually. The finish, short to medium, maybe medium, not super long, but actually really good. Really surprised by that. I mean, typically I'm not impressed by 86.8 proof whiskey. Probably the best sub 90 proof I've ever had. That being said, I don't think I'll get a bottle of it. Not really sure what a bottle of most of these are going for. I think the minimum is probably around $300, but some of these really good ones may be like 600. Don't know if it's worth 600, but it's really good actually. An initial guess, I mean, it's somewhere in the eights for sure. It's really nice. Yeah, I mean the aged oak. I mean, there's a little spice, but really not much. We're gonna save a little bit of that. We might come back to it. Let's cleanse the palate a little. Next up, we have Wild Turkey Masters Keep 1894. So I will post all of the like boxes somewhere on the screen. So hopefully, right now you're looking at what this actually looks like. Actually, technically, this is the third. So actually, we'll flip these. We'll do decades first, and then 1894. So decades was the second release. They did it in 2017. Now, in 2017, they did a mix of 10 to 20-year bourbons. It's 104 proof. Nothing super special with it. It's a light brown box. Really, I've heard good things about this one. This is supposedly one of the best, but we will find out. So, the nose is not nearly as good. No, all of these have been poured up. They've been sitting for about 15, 20 minutes. Nice, cool, temperate room here, I hope. So everything should be up to standard. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm getting some aged oak, like actually some good aged oak on it. Obviously, there's some very old whiskey in here. It is watered down a little, but 104 proof. I mean, compared to how good that 86.8 was, 104, really quite the step up. And I think moving forward, a lot of them are going to be around that 100 proof point. We're going to have some like 109 once we get later down the line. Okay, aged oak, oak funk, a little bit of cherry. Not really much else going on. I mean, there's a light oak, but there's really not too many flavors. Really just aged oak with some cherry on the side. I think is Wild Turkey Decades from 2017 here. They did skip 2016. Not really sure why. They just didn't do a release that year. But that being said, considering this is 2015 and the first release, it's not as if this was like a set thing that was going to be annual anyways. But it did become annual after that, which is cool. Um, okay, let's try it. Hmm. Oh, wow. Like some pepper. Definitely a lot more caramel on the palate. Finish is about medium length as well. Flavors are not nearly as good though as the 2015. Um, I mean, I like the kind of spicy, peppery, oaky. Still very viscous, I will say. I mean, still definitely tastes like old whiskey. It's good. It's very good. But I don't know if it's as good as the other one. This one, I think, right now is probably sitting around an 8.4. This one, I'm closer to an 8 on, maybe even high sevens. I mean, we're gonna go through and we'll set the ratings at the end, but yeah, I mean, not nearly as good. Definitely a lot less sweetness on this one. Yeah, the spiciness reminds me of like Stag Junior, the spicier batches, like batch 9, batch 15. It's good stuff. It's very good stuff, but definitely nothing super unique about it. Not viscous or anything. Like I said, we're going to do like half an ounce, hopefully, of each one. I think we should have an ounce of everything. I mean, I only had 1 ounce of most things. I did have 2 ounces of Voyage though, which is cool. But next up, we're gonna do 1894. Now, 1894 is a weird story, and the reason why I flipped these is because these are both technically 2017. This is technically the third release. It came out slightly after, but it only came out for the Australian market. And a lot of people online theorize as to why this was only in the Australian market. It seems like something to do with their taxes and the fact that they didn't make a lot of money off of Decades. They may have even lost money on Decades, and so 1894 just kind of came out as like a special release to try to support the Australian market. It wasn't available in America, and whether or not that's good or not, I mean, we'll find out in a second. It's 90 proof. It's a mix of 6, 11, and 13-year bourbon. Now, all of these, well, most of these are going to be some mix of rye, bourbons, aged stuff. I mean, this is meant to be Wild Turkey at its best every single year, and the best barrels. 1894, its namesake comes from the start of Warehouse A, I believe, at Wild Turkey. Wild Turkey was started in like 1850, so it is definitely later than that. But a particularly good warehouse where a lot of this whiskey comes from. That's kind of the namesake. It's a little bit of good history, which I always support some good history with our whiskey. So let's see how good this 1894 is. Swirl it around a little. I didn't have 10 of the same glass, which is why we have some like, shorter Glens like this. I actually prefer these glasses. I really like these glasses. But good old Glencairns, you can never go wrong. Okay, much less strong than the others so far. I'm getting some caramel, getting a little bit of rye spice, a little bit of allspice. Kind of like allspice, a mix of pepper and spice there. Um, a little bit of oak, really not much. There's definitely cherry in there. Like it's definitely so Wild Turkey profile here, and it's good, but not. I don't think it's as good as the other two so far. But let's see. This is 90 proof, which I think is going to be for the rest of this. This is going to be the second lowest proof after this one. Uh, so let's see what they did in 2017 and how it came out. All right, let's do this. Hmm. Oh wow. Hmm. Oak, some caramel, kind of like a rough, like almost like a dry oak, but that kind of punches you a little bit. Definitely pepper in there. Not really any like not really much sweetness at all in that actually. It's a very like drying pour. Um, Definitely my least favorite of the three so far. I mean, I'm thinking mid sevens on this, maybe 7.5, 7.6. Um, like, of course, it's still good. I mean, maybe with the nose, I bump it up a little bit more. But really, I mean, I'm glad Australia got to keep this one. I hope you guys in Australia enjoyed it. But of the three, this is definitely the worst. Do a second sip here, and then obviously we'll go back through all the way at the end to do the final ratings. Yeah, I mean it's light, short to medium finish. It kind of finishes up with a lot of pepper towards the end. Really, it's nothing impressive. I mean, I'm thinking like 7.6, maybe 7.7. Like it's really it's tough because it's a good whiskey. It's a very good whiskey, and that rating indicates that it's very solid. But I'm rating this as a 2017, like 150, 200, probably 600 on secondary bottle, and it's just not there for me. Um, but that's 1894. Now we're gonna do Revival here. Now Revival is a 2018 release, and after that, like I said, it's gonna be 2017, 18, 19, 21, 21, 22, 23, 24. Yes, I can count. Revival 2018, 101 proof. This is a 12 to 15 year mix of bourbon, and it's actually finished in Oloroso sherry, which is obviously a type of wine. Fun fact: I'm also training to be a wine sommelier, and by training I mean training. I will hopefully learn a lot more in due time. But Oloroso sherry definitely an interesting one. I believe there's something called Revival that is related to Oloroso sherry, so this is kind of like a remark to that. It's 101 proof, like I said. It comes in like a red maroon box, and like somewhere hopefully in this video I've been posting photos of all these things so you guys can see them. Uh, Obviously, sherry, wine, it makes people think of red, which is why they went for red for the box, I'm sure. Um, Cleanse the palate a little here. Oh, definitely smell the cherry. Plums, some cherry, some red currant in there. I'm using some wine terminology. Red currant and black currant are loved in the wine world, at least in the course that I'm taking. Some spice in there. It's definitely bourbon. I'm not going to go wrong with it. Caramel, some oak. Really, I mean, the aged oak on the 17 and the decades were really impressive. And so far, 1894 and Revival just have not been hitting that. I mean, this is 12 to 15 year bourbon. It's not 20-year bourbon, but it should get some aged oak in that, but really not getting a lot of it. Um, a good nose. I'd say better than 1894. Probably on par with the decade. Still worse than the Wild Turkey Master Cube 17, though. I mean, that 17 is holding strong at an incredible 86.8 proof. Okay, let's try it. Let's do this. Hmm. Tastes like a sherry finish. Plums, some nectarine peaches. That's kind of stone fruit flavors. There's some spice in there, some caramel, some oak. Short to medium finish. Really not too impressed by this one. I like it slightly more than the 1894. I think it's high sevens, maybe 7.8, 7.9. Um, I really like this Wild Turkey Master Cube 17. It started us off so well, and it's just not hitting. None of these things. I mean, this next thing we're gonna be trying is gonna be a rye though, so that is gonna be fun. But honestly, surprisingly similar to like Breckenridge port finish, which is a $50 bottle, and I think one of the best port finishes on the market, especially in that price range. Nothing super unique here. Like I'm not getting an aged old oak that's seeping through and really maintaining all of this on a sherry finish. Kind of just getting that Oloroso sherry and really nothing else going on. It's nice, but it's not $300. It's not $500. Save your money on secondary on this one. Let's see, second sip. Yeah, short to medium, maybe medium finish. A lot of rice spice at the end, some pepper, caramel, a little bit of cherry. Really nothing super unique, which is a little bit disappointing. Really had high hopes for that Oloroso sherry finish. I do really like finished whiskey if it's done well. Now a lot of times it's not done well, which is unfortunate, but good stuff. Let's cleanse the palate a little here. And I do have a bottle of water down here, like I said before. So if it comes to that towards the end of this, I will drink more. But next up, we have Cornerstone. Now, Cornerstone is a 2019 release. It's kind of a green box, I think very similar to the Triumph box, actually. And you'll see it somewhere on the screen here. And it's a blend of 9 and 11 year rise. It's 109 proof, and actually, it's technically cask strength, and I believe it's the only cask strength expression that we're having here. Now, it is a whole number. Whole numbers tend to indicate that they're not cask strength, they're slightly watered down. But it does say online that it is cask strength. So this might be the only one that's like that, although a lot of the other ones are very similar in proof. So clearly they're not watered down too much, which is a good sign. But at 109 proof, this is the 2019 release here. Again, MSRP is probably going to be like 150, 200, $300. I should say it's probably around 150. Secondary is probably like 300 to 400 right now. Could be more, could be less. I don't know. But let's see if it's any good. Cleanse the palate again here. Oh yeah, definitely a rye. Not a super bourbon friendly rye, although I think the mash bill in here is probably around 52% rye, so should be, but there is some corn sweetness in it. But I am getting a lot of rye spice, the dill, some oak in there definitely. It's hot. It's definitely hotter, a lot more ethanol nose than any of the first four that we had, which kind of makes it taste a little less refined. Now, obviously, every single one we've had before has been some pretty old whiskey. I mean, 17-year-old whiskey, 10 to 20-year-old whiskey, and all. So, 9 and 11 years, definitely a little bit on the younger end for Wild Turkey. Now, obviously, these picks over here, like this is a 9 year pick. It's actually a rare bird pick, which is pretty cool. And I'll crack this open one day. But this is definitely on the younger end. I mean, basically as old as these 110 proof picks. Uh, which is interesting because if this older whiskey isn't really getting much higher than 110, 115 proof, I mean, it is known that Wild Turkey does have a lower entry proof. It means that, the 104s and 102s that we're going to get to later, whatever, aren't really watered down all that much, which is a good sign. It's a very good sign. I mean, Russell's Reserve 13 and 15, they're all like 114, 115 proof, right? So definitely a good sign there. And for this whiskey, smells okay. Doesn't smell anything unique. Not super intense, probably like, light to medium in intensity. Let's see how it tastes. It's a rye whiskey. Um, Medium finish. It's actually still going. Um, might be medium to long here. Definitely one of the longer finishes that I've had here so far. A lot of rye spice, a lot of dill, a lot of oak. Really nothing unique, unfortunately. Hoping for some like maybe wild turkey funk or something in there, but really not getting a lot of that, unfortunately. Um, it's good, but it's really kind of just reminds me of like Jack Daniel's single barrel proof rye. Uh, Probably gonna rate it in the same ballpark. It's definitely better. I mean, maybe 7.7, 7.8. I think the Jack Daniel's rye is about a 7.6. So um, it's good. Try the second sip here to see if it changes my mind on anything. It's rye spice. That's oak. It's a little bit of pepper. Not super viscous. Pretty light. Um, it's good. Don't get me wrong, but it's no 17 over. This one is still unfortunately the best. I'm hoping We're gonna get some better ones. Now, the second one, this next one's gonna be very interesting. This is the 2020 17-year bottled in bond. So this is the 17, and this was 86.8 proof. I keep saying 86.8 proof. This is 100 proof. Bottled and bond, for a little bit of history, which you should all know, Bottled and Bond Act 1897 means the whiskey is at least 4 years old. Obviously, this one's 17 years old, so I think it's at least 4 years old. We have, it needs to be exactly 100 proof, cannot be more, cannot be less, exactly 100 on the dot. It's made in a federally bonded warehouse. All of the grains are from a single season, which actually for an old bottled and bond like this is impressive, meaning that they all grew this. If it's 17 years, they probably grew it around 2002, 2003. But it's all going to be from one season, and all of those grains make up, the mash that eventually made up this whiskey. And then also it has to be it has to be aged in a federally bonded warehouse, which isn't super technical, but basically just means that the government go in and make sure they're not cutting any corners. Very important to whiskey history in 1897. A lot less important today because we're not really getting fish water or like some weird like bugs crushed up in our bourbon anymore, which we once did. Fun fact. And they called it bourbon, and real bourbon people got mad at them, and that's why we have the Bottle and Bond Act of 1897. Anyways, let's try. Definitely a little bit darker actually on this one. Obviously, the Oloroso Sherry was very dark, but a lot of these were on the lighter end. So definitely seeing some age here, and this age plus this proof is very promising. So I'm gonna cleanse the palate here, and let's smell it. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Aged oak, a lot of cherry, so much cherry, some plum, nectarine, peach. A lot of that stone fruit is in there. Definitely, older oak. Definitely a lot of spice, actually. Oh yeah, really hitting a lot of the spots here. It's fruity, it's oaky, it's spicy, a lot of flavor. I should say a lot of intensity. But let's taste it and see how this goes. Hmm. Hmm. Very smooth, which is not usually a characteristic that I describe a whiskey as, but went down very easy. Didn't give me a ton of punch. A lot of the flavors came through. I mean, the cherry is so strong in this one. There's plum there. Um, it's definitely at least an eight, probably low eights. Uh, really up there in the top two, top three here so far, but nothing like super crazy. Like with a nose that good, I was really expecting a lot more. Let's see if the second sip maybe it's a little bit more promising here. Yeah, I mean, it's a medium finish. It's cherry on the finish, more cherry, some plums, a little bit of rye spice, a little bit of oak. Doesn't taste 17 years at all, though, which is weird. Like I'm not really getting the old oak that was coming off of the 17. This 17, by the way, is still in the lead for sure. And I don't even think this might be second or third, but this is number one by far. Um, Not really as much old oak as I was expecting, which is a little bit unfortunate here. Mm. But I actually just realized I should probably check the recording and make sure everything is recording. So I'm gonna take a quick cut here just to make sure, but I'll be back in a second. Okay, the recording looks good. I didn't really need to cut there. I mean, it's like 10 seconds later. I just wanted to make sure my phone is recording and everything because that would be bad if none of this was on tape. But this next one is Wild Turkey Master's Keep One. So Mild Turkey Masters Keep One is a black box. Again, it'll be shown somewhere on the screen. I am reading off my cheat sheet here. It's 9, 10, and 14-year bourbons, and this is actually a toasted oak finish, which I couldn't determine from any of the reviews that I read on it, but the bottle says toasted oak finish, so I'm going to believe it that's a toasted oak finish. It's 101 proof. So high hopes here. This is the 2020. This is a 2021 release. Wild Turkey Masters Keep One. Get the toasted oak, get the cherry. I'm going to cleanse the palate a little bit here. Uh, yeah, I mean, it tastes like wild turkey. There's spice there. Not really a ton of aged oak on it, unfortunately. There's plum there, some black currant in there. Definitely a little bit of ethanol note, a heat. Not as much as the Cornerstone, but it's definitely there. And it's not bad, but it's is definitely there. Um, Here, let's try it. Let's do this. It's nice. That's nice. Uh, that's one of the few ones that its palate is much better than the nose actually. Getting rye spice, getting cherry. It's actually very viscous, which is nice. The other ones, I mean, we haven't had too many viscous ones here. Um, Tastes refined, tastes like spice, tastes like oak. Um, Probably around a medium finish on this. I mean, none of these are really impressively long finishes, unfortunately. Um, but it is good. It is very good. Definitely a fan of it. Definitely in the eights. Trying to see if I like it more than this one. That's gonna be interesting. Um, let's go a second sip here. Yeah, yeah. A lot of spice. It's a medium finish, maybe even medium to long finish. Cherry. Surprisingly similar to the 17 bottled and bond, even though I mean this is 101 proof, so it's very similar in proof, but it should be much younger. But the viscosity on the palate really makes it taste older. I mean, neither of them have a ton of aged old oak. Like we kind of got an earlier ones here, so uh, good. Um, I mean, I'd even say great. I think that's like an 8.1, 8.2, maybe even like an 8.3. Uh, Still, the 17-year over here is winning, unfortunately. But let's try the last three here. Next up, we have Unforgotten, and we have a little bit more of a hefty pour here. Although it is a 1 ounce sample jar, but fun fact with these sample jars is if you fill them up totally to the brim, which this one was, I mean, you're getting like 1.2 ounces out of the small one and 2.4 ounces out of the big one. So keep that in mind, if you're filling samples one day. Unforgotten is obviously the 2022 release. It's an 8 and 9 year rye and a 13-year bourbon, and it's finished in rye casks. It's 105 proof. So interesting. You know, we really haven't gotten a ton of rye so far. Obviously, we had the Cornerstone, and the last one, Triumph here, the 2024 release is going to be a rye. But let's see, soft on the nose, some caramel, some cherry, some rye spice. Actually, tastes a little bit of old oak there. I should say, smell a little bit of old oak there. Much better than a couple of the last few. I mean, like the Cornerstone here is a rye. Yeah, and that one is really tastes like a rye dill, but this one, I'm getting a lot more of the cherry. It smells very thick, which is interesting. Um, I mean, let's see. I mean, it's 8 and 9 year rye, 13-year bourbon, so it could be old. It's a cream green colored box, which I showed you at some point. I hope. Uh, let's try this and see. It's good. It's an eight. Um, Definitely an eight. Very good. Honestly, possibly my second favorite after the Wild Master Keep 17. Um, a lot of cherry, it's very viscous, a lot of caramel. I'm not really tasting a ton of rye though for a whiskey that was finished in rye casks and has 8 and 9 year rye in it. Really not getting a ton. I mean, it smells. You get a little bit of dill on the nose. You're getting a little bit of that rye spice. A little bit of sweet rye candy, which is by far the best flavor note on rye, and you get those on some of the rare characters, which are just amazing. But here, let's do a second sip here and see if it's changing at all. Hmm. Yeah, sweet rye candy. Definitely a lot more on that one. 8.3 ish, I would say. I mean, it's good. It's very good. Um, Definitely getting a lot of rye, spice, and pepper on the end. Definitely medium to long finish. A lot of those same flavors are coming through. The caramel, the cherry, ending with like a nice long dry peppery taste, which I like on my whiskeys. I know a lot of people don't like that, but really, really very good on the Unforgotten. Um, no, I mean I am impressed with that one. Typically, I was just naturally expecting earlier ones to taste better than later ones, but that one is good. That might be top three of all of them. But this next one is going to be weird. This is Wild Turkey Master Steep Voyage. Wild Turkey Master Steep Voyage is a 10-year bourbon finished in rum, and it's 106 proof. It's finished in good old Jamaican rum. It smells super sweet, and we're gonna cleanse the palate a little here. And let's see how good this is. So a ton of like Caribbean rum sweetness, and that looks like coconut. Looks like some kind of like a grassiness to it. Obviously, a ton of caramel on this one. Kind of getting some other like tropical fruits in there, like some pineapple, um, some mango even. I mean, the bourbon here is really not coming through. I mean, there's no cherry on this. There's a little bit of oak, a little bit of ethanol heat, which I think rum just kind of gives ethanol heat onto bourbon, unfortunately, in a lot of their finishes. Do not tend to be a big fan of rum finishes, but I also have not had a $300 value rum finish. So let's see. Um, I mean, really, tropical fruits, caramel. Let's try it. Let's do this. It's good. I mean, it tastes like rum. Um, Spiciness to it. There's coconut, mango. Um, Honestly, kind of unfortunate that it just seems like the Jamaican rum totally took it over. Really not getting like any bourbon typical flavors on there. Uh, like there's a little bit of oak. There's really not a ton of cherry. There's really not a ton of like typical bourbon fruits. Obviously Voyage, it's a cool name. Jamaican rum, makes me think of a journey, a trip. I'm thinking of blue. I'm thinking, and actually the piece of tape here on the sample is blue, so I'm even getting more blue, and I'm thinking of the ocean and the water, and it's a good pour, but really just tastes like rum. And unfortunately, a lot of rum finish, like Breckenridge that I talked about before, their rum finish is one of the worst pours I've ever had in my life. It's just awful. This is not awful. I mean, it's in the sevens. It's probably mid sevens. Um, it's good. I mean, it's I understand why people like it, but for $300, I'm not seeing it. Um, Really kind of disappointing here. Um, I keep looking, and all I'm getting is mango, coconut. Let's do a second sip here. See how good it is. Yeah, I mean, look, that's viscous. Rye spice definitely there. Short to medium. I'd say medium finish. Most of these, I mean, are around medium finish. Nothing super long, which is unfortunate. I like long finishes, um, but nothing super crazy about that one. Um, it's sweet. It's unique. I mean, it's so unique that I even can put it on the Angel's Envy finished in rum and cognac casks. That bottle, Penelope Rio, like it's that kind of like it's not okay. Maybe it's not that funky, but it's very funky. Um, Really not a typical bourbon. Not really what I'm looking for in a bourbon. Um, Probably my least favorite so far. I mean, 1894 and Voyage are going to have added at for the last place. But let's try some Triumph. So Triumph is the 2024 release. It's a 10-year and 20-year, 10-year and 12-year rye. Excuse me, 104 proof. It's a green box. It's gorgeous. It looks just like Cornerstone. $300. I believe MSRP on this is actually about $275. I actually did see this once for MSRP. And I saw it Monday, and I believe it dropped on the distillery either that Monday or that Tuesday. So really saw it before anybody else, but decided not to buy it. And then the next day, I thought maybe I'll go pick it up, and then somebody bought it. So let's see if I regret my decision for buying this, for not buying this at like $285. Um, Now, I think in the beginning these started off like $150 MSRPs, and they've just kind of doubled over the course of 10 years, which is totally standard in the whiskey department. Um, oh my god, that's a lot of rye candy, a lot of dill, lot of rye spice, um, a little bit of cherries in there. It's definitely some oak. Tastes, I should say, smells like a good rye. I mean, honestly, it probably smells better than the Cornerstone here, which I'll take and compare again. Yeah, I mean that one just feels a little flat, a little mellow. I mean, definitely smells a little bit older, I will say, some like old aged oak. But I don't know. I mean, I'm getting a lot of that on this one too, but a lot more flavor, a lot more pungency on this one. But let's do this. Yeah, rye candy, caramel, like butterscotch, toffee flavors, which are good. Um, definitely cherry, old oak, um, medium finish, medium to long finish maybe. Um, it's good. I'm not like blown away by it. Like it's not mid eights. It's definitely above eight. It's probably 8.1, 8.2. Um, it's good, but it's definitely a rye. Give it that. Not blowing me away. Better than the Voyage. I don't know if it's better than Forgotten. I mean, we're gonna go back through here and rank all these. So I'm out of water, so we'll pour some good old Costco water into the glass. Um, it's good. I don't know. I don't love it. It's unfortunate. Um, Definitely a lot of rye candy on this one, but when I look at like short barrel rye over here, I mean this is 12-year MGP 131.4 proof. Uh, I really don't think this one is much better. It might be better. I mean, I think it's better, but it's really not blowing me away. Um, let's try it again. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of white spice. I think pretty confident there about an 8 point. I go 8.2. Um, it would be higher if the finish was longer. It doesn't taste super old and refined, unfortunately. So it is 12 to 10 to 12-year rye. Uh, but yeah, not loving that. But anyways, we've tried them all. Now we're gonna go through. We're gonna take one more sip and we're gonna rank them all. Uh, so far, based off of memory alone, I think this 17 that we started off on was amazing, and unfortunately, just better than every single other one we've tried. But we're gonna find out for sure. So we're gonna go back, and we're gonna go back in reverse order, and we're gonna rate them on our objective scale. If you don't know anything about the objective scale, I may or may not post a video on it. Um, but basically, a seven is meant to be more of a daily drinker, and eight is meant to be like a good weekly sipper, like a Stag Junior kind of thing, and a nine is meant to be like the best pour, of kind of like the pour of the year, like C923, maybe like high eights, something like a really good Thomas H. Handy, George C. Stagg, William Llewellyn, stuff like that's a nine. Maybe I misspoke. Maybe C923 is more like mid eights, but good stuff. And I think these are all going to fall between seven and nine. I don't really think any of them are going to drop under that. Obviously, I was hoping to find like a good nine here. I initially said this one's mid eights, so we'll go through it again and we'll see. So, Wild Turkey Triumph. Yep, the rye spice. 8.2. It's good. It doesn't stun me. Not the best thing in the world, but it's good. It is very solid. I think that's a weekly pour. I think if you buy that at $280, if you really like rye, you won't be disappointed. If you don't absolutely love rye, might be a little disappointed. $280 is just too much money for that. I think. Really, it's just not worth it. But let's keep going down the list here. Voyage, and I'm probably not gonna finish the whiskey in all of these glasses. I might. I don't know, but probably not. Um, if you like kind of like rye candy, like sweet rye, you're gonna like that. Like it's mangoey, it's pineapple-y, it tastes tropical. You're gonna be reminded of Jamaica. It's Jamaican rum, so it's good. I just don't see really like I'll put it at 7.7. Um, which is to say, it's not as good as a weekly sipper. It's definitely not as good as the Triumph. Like it's a good bit worse. Um, but I do respect it. Like it's a good whiskey. I think if you like rum finishes, that is definitely the best rum finish I've ever had by far. But I'm not blown away. Again, there's one of these sitting in a local shop for $329. I'm not buying that. But it's good. Like I'll respect it. Um, Unforgotten here. Smells so good. Yeah, that's like an 8.3. I think it's better than the Triumph. Maybe say actually the Triumph's probably an 8.1. 8.1, 7.7, 8.3. That Unforgotten's really good. Uh really impressive. Uh I love the balance of oak and caramel and cherry and all these things. I will say, it's been a lot of whiskey so far. Uh, but my palate still I'm still sensing flavors, so that's good. Um, but anyways, let's do this one over here. Hmm. And I want to compare this to the bottle of Monk. Is that this tastes older oak. It does taste good though. I mean, it smells good. Let's see, 8.2. I like it less than the Unforgotten. I like it more than the Triumph. Um, very good. I'm also realizing I should probably check on the recording again. So I'm gonna be back in like 10 seconds and just make sure the recording is working. It's been like 20 seconds and recording's good. So now I'm gonna try the bottom bond. Now I said 8.3, 8.2, 8.1, 7.7 so far. And let's see how this is. That's good stuff. That's very good stuff. Um, Probably 8.3. Definitely on par with the Unforgotten. Really good. Really good. Um, I really like that one. Yeah, so that's very impressive. Um, yeah, so I mean, I think this is 8.3. I think these two are really around the same caliber. Let's try the Cornerstone, the rye. Let's see how good this one is. Um, I mean, it definitely, over the course of like the last, 20, 30, 40 minutes, however long it's been, a lot more rye on this one, I will say. Um, and a lot more like old aged oak, which is good. We're really just not getting enough there. Yeah, I like the Triumph more. I think this is an 8. I think this is better than the Voyage. I'll bring Voyage back here. I'll put those up there for now since these are both 8.3s. Um, I said this one was an 8.2. Um, it's good. I'm not blown away. It's good though. It is good. It's a good rye, but get the Triumph. Don't ever waste your time again with the Cornerstone. Uh, Part of this great journey is to really say like what whiskeys were good in the past, but also what sucked in the past, and what should we forget about. And I just think Triumph is just a better Cornerstone. Cornerstone maybe slightly more refined oak on it if you're really into that, but there's just so many more flavors on the Triumph, I think. But let's do some revival here. Good old Oloroso sherry. Not loving it. Um, Worse than the Cornerstone. Um, Probably like high sevens, 7 point, maybe 7.9. Um, I mean, it's the best sherry finish I've had in a long time, but I'm really not getting much more, unfortunately. Uh, no, I still think it's a good like it's weekly sippable. Like this isn't a 6, this isn't a 5 or anything. It is still really good relative, to like the Voyage. I don't know. I mean, these finishes. Maybe I'll even bump this to 7.8. Um, Kind of take it back a little bit. But honestly, I mean, Voyage and Revival, you know, finishes can make whiskey good sometimes, but sometimes you take good whiskey, you finish it, and you turn it into, a pile of garbage. So they didn't do that here, but it's not. I don't. I really do wonder what that base whiskey tasted like for them to finish it in those Oloroso sherry casks. But I don't know if it would have been better with Oloroso sherry. So unfortunately, I will never know. And let's do some 1894. Um, yeah, still a lot of pepper, a little bit of aged oak on it, but really just not a lot going on there. 7.6. That's the worst one. It's not that good. Nah, it's just not that good. There's a lot of pepper on it. It's maybe I'm gonna say 7.5. Like I really would take the Voyage a lot more than that one. It's really you get the pepper flavors, you get the caramel flavors, you get the rye spice flavors, but really, like it's not giving me anything unique. It's not giving me anything special. It's not really giving me like super wild turkey flavors. I suspect since this is the second release in 2017 and no other release had to in 1 year, and it's only an Australian release, which is really weird. I assume they used all the good barrels here, decades, and then made 1894 because they wanted to appease the Australian market, and it's not that good. And they tried some maybe some younger whiskey. I mean, in theory, it's 6, 11, and 13 year bourbon, but I don't know if we know the percentages. But 6 year bourbon, this is 9 years, and this is $60. So 6 year wild turkey does not impress me. I don't know if like literally wild turkey 101 is basically mixed in here because I assume that's like 5, 6 years. Really just not impressive stuff. Now let's get into the last two here. Um, I mean, that one just smells so good. Yeah, that's in the eights. I mean, that's probably 8.3. I think it's on par with the Unforgotten and the what is that Wild Turkey 17 bottle and bond here. A lot of flavors, a lot of. I really like how it's smooth. It's old oak. It's cherry. I mean, it's giving you a lot of what you want in a whiskey. Um, Really very impressed by that one. Uh, Obviously, I mean, this is the second release of Wild Turkey, and it is American market, thankfully, not like the stupid Australian turkey one. Um, Now let's try some Wild Turkey 17. Now, going into this, I think this is gonna be the favorite. I hope it's not the favorite because 2015 favorites are less fun when I can't see this on the shelf and I can see Triumph on the shelf. But I mean, this one really blew me away. So let's see how good it is. Hmm, that's the best one. Yeah, I mean, there's just so much flavor on it. I mean, I don't know how the heck it is 86.8 proof, um, but that's really impressive. Um, I really am blown away by this. So basically, number one, Wild Turkey 17. Number two, Wild Turkey Decades. Number three, I go Unforgotten. Number four, I go Bottled and Bond. Number five, I do Wild Turkey Master Key 1, then the Triumph, then Cornerstone, then Revival, then Voyage, then 1894. And I'll post all the rankings. I'll put them all up right now. Basically, you know what? This was interesting. I'm glad I got to do it. Really, some impressive whiskeys made by Wild Turkey Masters Keep. I'll probably post like a 5-minute clip at the end of this, kind of just giving my like last thoughts. Once I've kind of taken a break and haven't had just so much whiskey in the last 40 minutes. But really, I mean, amazing stuff. Glad Wild Turkey did this. Um, I mean, it really some amazing whiskeys in here. Would I pay $300 for any of them? No, I wouldn't. I just wouldn't. I mean, maybe if you love wild turkey, go for it. I've never been the biggest wild turkey fan in the world. I do like wild turkey. Uh, yeah, I guess this unforgotten right here is being forgotten. So here I'll add it back to the lineup. But yeah, I mean, some good whiskeys. I mean, really, unfortunate that 2015 and 2016, 2015 and 2017, I should say, are really kind of my favorites here. But that Wild Turkey Master 1, I mean, that was good. Unforgotten was good. The 17 bottle and bond was good. Uh, and none of them were bad. So, I'll loop back around with a little bit of comments here. So it's been about 15 minutes, and I've sat with the flavors. I've thought about the whiskeys. I still think the 17 is the best. I've heard the 17 bottled and bond is considered the best. It does have a lot more pepper on it. It's good. It's very good. As you can see, I actually finished this. I finished this. I finished this one. I finished this, and I'll probably finish the other ones in the next 10, 20 minutes. Um, it's good stuff, but I'm not absolutely blown away by the flavor profile in this one in a way that like this one. This is cherry. This is caramel. It's funny. I'm holding this as if I'm holding the bottle. But caramel, cherry, spice galore. I really stand by. I think the normal 17 is the best, and I do think the decades is probably second. Um, yeah, I mean that's just so good. Oh my god. Uh, you know, the problem with the bottle and bond is that you're just getting too much of the oak. Now, the Unforgotten is good, the one is good, but I think I stand by all my rankings. I've thought about them a little, and I definitely support them. But really, I just want to say thank you for watching this video. I mean, if you've made it this long, you probably made it like 50 something minutes at this point. So, thank you. I hope you learned something, and that something is probably, get Unforgotten if you can find it for $300. That one might be worth it if you really want to try Master's Keep because I think this one is probably third or fourth. In a way that like you know Voyage, if you like rum finishes, fine, but it's not like and Triumph is like really nothing special, but yeah, that Unforgotten is just so good. I won't take another sip of it, but thank you all for watching. We're gonna do a lot more videos like this in the future, probably with fewer pours. But we're gonna try every stag batch, every Elijah Craig batch. So many things in the future. So stay tuned for those. But for now, have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you all soon. Thank you.